thinking at Idealware here a lot about tactical technology planning. So it's kind of an alternative to a large strategic technology planning process. It's really useful to do strategic technology planning, and certainly not to say at all that this is a replacement for it. But kind of my feeling and our feeling here is that a lot of nonprofits actually aren't doing strategic planning because they feel it's too large and overwhelming, and therefore they do no planning at all. So with the thought that any planning is better than no planning, thinking through what it would mean to do something that's more tactical than strategic. So we've been using an analogy like a house. So if you're doing planning as to what might be useful to do to your house, you could take it from a very top-down level. You could say, so what does our family do with the house? What would be useful? Where is it going to raise the monetary value of the house? Kitchen, new porch, stuff like that. But you could also take a much more tactical approach to it to say, okay, what are kind of the gaps in my house? Is there water in the basement? Is the electrical safe? Obviously, if all of those things are sound and in order, then it makes sense to start thinking a little more strategically. So tactical technology planning is basically that same idea, where you're looking to see what are the gaps in your technology infrastructure, how does your technology compare to best practices, what other organizations are doing, what's your hit list for possible things that would be useful to do, and then pulling one, two, maybe maximum of three of those projects to say, all right, this is what I'm going to work on right now. So the idea of you pull together a technology committee, you go through a series of workshops, go through a series of areas to talk through, all right, what does our hardware look like? What does our constituent data tracking look like? What does our online communications look like? To either pull in a consultant if you don't feel like you're really solid about knowing what the best practices are, or certainly to go it alone. I think that there's a lot of value in just thinking about it, to identify what seems like you could do it better, and then make an action plan for doing the one or two, three things at the top of the list.